Hello, welcome to Furious Driving, and this is our monthly, it's become a monthly thing over the last couple of months, Q&A, which questions sent in by Patreons and channel members. So if you want to be sending questions in, there's a link to become one of those things in the description below, and every month I put out the email address that only you guys have, either on the channel comments page, the community page, that only members can see, and also on the Patreon's website. It's kind of hard to communicate to everyone all at once. It's very strange. But before we crack on, there's one thing I want to say. First about merchandising. If you remember the Spaceballs, the movie, may the Schwartz be with you. Yeah, not just Furious Driving mugs, the Alfa Romeo, Rover Coupe, Quentin, the convertible, and all the other stuff that's over on Redbubble for t-shirts, mugs, stickers, all the rest of it. Scrappage scheme for Survivor is a surprisingly popular one, as is the Rover badge. But hats. We have a variety of hats still in stock. It's not warm yet, it's still spring, it could still snow. These grey ones remain in stock. I'm quite keen on these because they go with basically everything. The yellow ones are back in stock again, and now, for a limited time, unless I order some more, blue ones, which I really quite like. I've not ordered enough to have one of my own yet, so only lucky people who've bought them will have them. And we still have these black ones, which are really great for working in the garage. They, again, go with everything, and because they're black, they don't show the dirt. So if you're lying under a oily, greasy car doing spannering, it's an ideal headwear accoutrement. Links to finding one of them are all in the description below, as are links to the Redbubble store, where currently still everything is available until I figure out an alternative. Coffee. Right, now let's crack on with some questions. As I say, these are only from Patreons and members. Now, it's going to be a slightly shorter video than last month, which ran to over an hour, because this month I haven't had quite so many questions and haven't had quite so much stuff in the post. I was thinking of maybe splitting it into two separate videos, but this month it's made me think maybe I'll just do it as not a regular third week of the month thing. Maybe just do it sporadically when I've got enough stuff built up. I don't know. Playing all very much by ear. And of course the whole weird situation in the world right now means everything changes every month. You never know what you're doing. No, might be in lockdown again next month, who knows. Right, so first question. This one just missed the cutoff for last month. Steve Ellis, fix, fly, drive, ride. Fix, drive, flight, ride. Sorry, too many words. I've never heard say your channel name properly. He's got an interesting channel with many fine and bizarre vehicles. Right, question number one. With national pride at its highest for decades, would now be an ideal time to revive Rover? If yes, when am I starting? If they'd have me. Well, I don't know. It might be a good time, it might be a bad time, really, because economically it's not a very strong time, and it might be a good time to re-kick off Rover as, firstly, a saloon brand in the face of all the SUVs and crossovers and things, because they're a traditional brand, traditional values, sell a car for people who don't want an SUV, and secondly, one that can be starting from the ground up as hybrids and EVs, because if that is the future, get an alternative powertrain. I think it would be great to have Rover back as a brand below Jaguar, where it was kind of positioned back in the 70s and 80s. Is there a place for it? Because brands like Ford, who are sitting further down the pecking order, have really struggled in the last few years. Now, they've completely killed off everything apart from their vans, pickups and SUVs, which is very sad indeed. They're struggling to make sales against things like Mercedes and BMW and Audi, because the premium brands have got better residuals. So if you're buying on a PCP, then it's actually cheaper to buy a premium car than it is to buy a regular car, a blue-collar car. Very strange world we live in these days. But yeah, I would love it if Rover could come back, although with exports and things being kind of tricky at the moment, maybe it wouldn't be such a great time, because nothing is really exporting or importing particularly easily at the moment. I got an email, or saw on Facebook, one supplier of stuff was saying they were thinking of stopping supplying to Europe at the moment, which would be awkward for a car supplier trying to sell cars. I've been waiting for some camera parts for 6 weeks now. No sign of them. So yeah, maybe importing, exporting, maybe new companies isn't the best time. I don't know. Complicated, weird world. Right, next question. Jeremy Phillips, Cornish Rider. Hi Matt, you look pretty taken with the Granada Scorpio estate. Given its age and condition, would it have made a perfect daily driver? And how suitable for you would it have been for that purpose? Well, I was quite taken it, but it's more for nostalgia than anything else. Because I know underneath it's a very basic car that's just loaded with lots of goodies to make it very comfortable and nice and fun. It is rear-wheel drive, I did like that. Yes, the nostalgia, because my granddad had the Granadas for years and years, did make it quite a nice trip down memory lane. Just the smell getting into the thing brought all the memories back. In terms of practicality, it would have been really good for me, because I need a nice sort of big estate car to load all my bags and things into. But fuel-wise, it would have been a bit of a disaster. I mean, I did at one point toy with getting a Crown Victoria as a daily car, but you know, it's at half the economy of the estate car I used with a diesel in it. In fact, if I had to go to a petrol or an EV, I think I'd be pretty much stuffed at the moment, because there's nothing that gives either the range or the economy. Petrols don't have the economy, EVs don't have the range, unless you're spending huge money on things like a Tesla. I was very taken with it, but yeah, the economy of it would have been just woeful, so it would have pretty much negated any profit I made from going out to work any given day. Would be spent entirely on petrol. And secondly, the car was so nice, I would hate to be using it every day as a load lugger. It would just ruin the poor thing. So it's too nice to use, really. That one has got to go into a collection somewhere. Right, next question. There's only about half a dozen or so today, so we'll rattle through these ones. Nigel Wright, hello Nigel. I know you don't do requests, but here's a vehicle that might be of interest. An Austin Champ. Yeah, that would be really cool actually. I did have a couple of military vehicles lined up at the end of 2019, and we sort of said to the owners, come springtime when we can drive them in nicer weather, we'll have those. Unfortunately, it obviously didn't happen last year. But yeah, an Austin Champ would be great, a real interesting alternative to an early Land Rover, and not worth anywhere near as much money either, because there's not the whole Land Rover empire of building the name around it, because it was only a short-lived thing. So Austin Champ was a great little off-roader thing, built by Austin, yeah, designed for the military, and they did take some in the, I think, early 50s. But yeah, they're around. But yeah, we would like to do that. Right, next question. Gideon/Maxidine, if you see his comments in the thing. Which movies with a car theme do I like and would recommend to watch? Oh man, I could do a whole video on this. In fact, maybe one day I will, because yeah, car movies are absolutely my thing. And there are just so many of them. I think I had to stop and sort of write some down, because whenever I get questions like this, I'm out and about, and someone says, oh, what's a great movie to watch? And I can think of 100, and then my mouth just freezes. Can't think of any at all. But I've made a short list. This is a very short list. When I do a video, it would be quite a long video. I'll have to break it down into categories of sort of race cars, road trips, getaways. Yeah, there's so many. Right, the obvious movies that everyone always trots out every time we say car movies, like Ronin, which is obviously a great car chase movie. Some really interesting cars, and they're really non-obvious car chase cars. Vanishing Point, can't do any kind of car movie list without Vanishing Point. And same with Duel, which is a great one. Two Lane Blacktop, which a lot of people don't like, but it is a fantastic, really, really pure car movie. There's virtually no dialogue in the entire film, just a few sort of words uttered back and forth. It's all just about the cars, and they are just really, really cool, interesting cars. And Italian Job, obviously you can't do any kind of list like this without the Italian Job. Yeah, there's probably some law against it, I believe. Right, then we get to the less obvious ones that you might not have come across, might not have watched, but are fantastic nonetheless. First of all, a really recent one is Baby Driver. If you haven't seen Baby Driver, it is a great car chase movie. And it's all timed with the music perfectly, and the choreography of the car chases and the stunts are just fantastic. Not been a film like it for a long time. Definitely well worth a watch. I mean, when I first saw that on whatever streaming, I think it was Now TV Movies or something, so I watched it 3 times straight. It was just brilliant. Next up, Ford versus Ferrari, another recent one. That is another really, really good film. Really good acting, really good characterization, apparently based fairly closely on Factish, and the cars and the racing is all, yeah, just brilliant. That's a great car movie. Drive, if you don't mind a bit of violence, bit of punching people out and worse, Drive is a great one. Ryan Reynolds? I've got the Ryans mixed up. Yeah, did a great performance, really, really good film. Comes from a book as well. It's one of those rare times where the movie isn't worse than the book. So often you see the movie adaptation of a book you love, and it's just so disappointing. This time it's not. I actually watched the movie first, and the book was really the same. Cars 3. That is a great movie. The first Cars movie is a really good introduction to the Cars world. It's nice characters, it's a good story, and lots of sort of hidden jokes and great little stuff drawn in the background. You spend a lot of time watching the original Cars movie for all that kind of stuff. Cars 2 is just awful. We don't pretend that one didn't happen. But then Cars 3 is really quite a sad movie, kind of a growing up, not coming of age, like an older movie where, you know, he realises his career is over and he's got to move on and get over that, the high point of his, the best times are over kind of thing, becoming old. It's quite a sad, deep story for a cartoon. But yeah, again, great animation, great characterizations, great references to the real world. Yeah, Cars 3 definitely is worth a watch. Even if you don't like cartoons, it's definitely worth watching. And the animation in that, when they get to the old original NASCAR dirt track oval thing up in the redneck country, the animation is just stunning. You can look at that and think you're looking at a photograph. It is. You can tell the animators were loving what they were doing making that film. What else? Oh, there's more. There's more. Smokey and the Bandit, can't go without saying that one. Gone in 60 Seconds, but the original H.B. Halicki one, which is, yeah, so much better than the Nick Cage one. Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry, that's another great one, quite funny as well. The Driver, the original one from the 70s, that's good. And of course, my ultimate car movie, which is Getaway, Chase, everything, The Blues Brothers. That's, if I was asked to pick one car movie, in fact one movie ever, that's going to be The Blues Brothers. That is the best one of all. Again, some people don't like that because it's quite slow getting into it. It takes a long time for the story to get going. And I've watched it in groups where people have kind of wandered off in the first 15 minutes because nothing really happened. But then it builds up to a crescendo. That film really takes a while to get going. And once it does, it's a steamroller. Next question. Tony. Hello, Tony. Good to see the progress making with the Rovers. Any more progress with the C5? Yeah, I've been meaning to sort of address this for the last week or so. A couple of people have offered to me help on email, which I haven't actually replied to. I need to get back to both of you guys. I've worked out how to mount the motor. It's actually not that difficult at all, and how I'm going to drive everything. So that's all very, very simple and very, very doable. It's in progress. The big hanging up sticking point thing on this is the battery. I ordered a battery for this thing, I don't know, around the same time or before that last video on the C5 actually came out, and it hasn't turned up. So there's no point building it all and then having a video when I can't show it working. And also, I don't actually want to mount everything permanently in there without first testing it on the ground. You need to do like a dry test to make sure the motor works, make sure the acceleratory thing works. So until the battery turns up, I'm kind of at a sticking point. And this is another thing with import-export, like the Rover thing. Until that battery arrives, the C5 is on hold, unfortunately. Likewise, the P6, the trunk we take the junk out of, I've worked out how I need to be moving the drive belt pulleys into alignment so the water pump and alternator work when I'm starting this thing and running in, because it's going to be run at 2000 RPM for like 20 minutes or something to break in the camshaft. Otherwise, you ruin your new camshaft, which is a lot of money to throw away, and then a lot of time to take it out and replace it. Yeah, so I'm waiting on a part for that. Again, lost in the post. Meantime, I've been doing other things to this car. Been working on the throttle linkage, the fuel lines, the other stuff that was holding it up. It did also occur to me that I need to go and find the correct transmission fluid for this P6, because the Borg-Warner automatics use a different kind of transmission fluid, automatic transmission fluid, to what is generally available in the shops. So I think what it might have in there is a slight mix of the correct ATF and the wrong ATF, because the last time it was driven, it lost a bit of oil because it'd been sat for a while, and then the seals had dried out. They take a while to kind of re-plump up, and the garage I was at said, "Oh, we'll help you out, that will just top you up." Unfortunately, it was the wrong kind, but it didn't drive very far, so I need to flush, refill. Yeah, you know. Mercedes, I've had a quick look at that. Haven't touched any more on it yet though. I have ordered all the bits of wood to build the frame of the lean-to on that, so that's going to be quite exciting, having some cover for those cars. And I've got a lead on a possible unit on a farm to keep the cars dry as well, so that's very exciting. So storage for all the cars. Quentin the convertible, he is still away with the trimmers. There was one more bit of internal framework of the roof still missing. The thing is, when you've got something complicated as that, you don't know what you're missing until you start. So I ordered one of them from actually the same guy who I got the refurbed side panel and the actual hood frame itself from, a guy called Chris, who's in the Rover R8 forums. He's very helpful because he's broken a lot of rough cars for parts. He's got a good supply of stuff, and he does actually supply bits. So yeah, thanks Chris for that. So that's now with them still waiting to get done. Alpha is booked for a cam belt, but that's in another week or two's time. I'm going to go to my Alfa Romeo friend, who is a ex-main dealer Alpha technician, but now works on his own, so it'd be quite nice to have his take on the engine bay, rather than me just pummeling through and hoping for the best, get him to, you know, to check it all over. Any other cars I'm missing? Oh, Mini, I haven't looked at the Mini because it's in the lockup away from home, and it's on Sawn this month. I've sawned everything this month because that's like £100 and something worth of road tax every month, and it rained and snowed, hailed. It was just horrible road grit for the first couple of weeks of what month are we in? March? Yeah. So I didn't want to be wasting money taxing them, so that's been stuck over into the unit, but I need to get underneath that and do the floor on that to make it rust proof. Likewise the Volvo, I need to get underneath that one and do rust proofing on that. And I think all three, the Alpha, the Volvo Mini, all need a service as well. So yeah, I've got plenty to be getting on with. Unfortunately, I've gone back to work this week as well, so suddenly I'm busy with work at the same time as having loads to do on the cars. All good fun. Such fun. Right, yeah, that's the C5. That's a longer answer than you wanted. Next question from Lawrence Homer. Don't really want to ask anything, but thank you for your brilliant diverse content. Oh, thank you very much indeed, Lawrence. That's really nice. I didn't read this before I copy-pasted it. Also, thank you for replying to comments. As a channel member, when you get a reply, it makes you feel valued. Well, I do actually try really hard to go through the comments and make sure I do reply to as many, especially channel members, because you have a little name badge next or icon next to your name when you comment on the videos. I know you have thousands of messages. I'll be honest, I do, yes. It does take a little while. Sometimes it takes me a little while to get through them, so I apologise if I am ever delayed getting through to your comment. Like yesterday, I put the Honda Civic went out yesterday morning, first thing. That was on like a scheduled upload time. But then I went straight out to work. I was out the door at like 8 o'clock in the morning. I didn't get back until 6 or 7, and then I didn't get a chance to look at YouTube or anything else like that at all until quite late. So I've only started looking at the comments this morning, which is now Saturday. Filming this the same day it's going to go out live. Yeah, so sometimes I struggle to find time, but I do really value the comments. I do appreciate it. Sometimes people pick me up on stuff I've got wrong, which is always interesting to know for next time. Sometimes I will disagree and hopefully comment politely that I think I was right first time. Sometimes, not often. But yeah, it's always nice to sort of see people's opinions as well, see if people have enjoyed the cars. If you've liked the video, if you dislike stuff, do like stuff, that's always good to know. So yes, I hope, well, glad you appreciate that, and thank you for watching. Last question, Davey, Scottish Car Enthusiast TV. Hello, Davey. The last question of the week, month even. My question this month is, what was your first car-related memory and got me into cars? For him, Davey, it was sitting behind the wheel of his granddad's Sierra, pretending to drive. Dad borrowed this car on holiday, and he apparently has sent some junk in the trunk, but it may not have made it though, so let's have a look at that in a minute. But yeah, my first motoring memories, that would be on my own parents' cars, obviously. I don't remember coming home from the hospital, but apparently that was in I think it was a van, either a Hillman Husky van or a Ford van. Obviously in the little basket thing sliding around in the back like you could back in those days. But I think my earliest real memories would be my dad always had company cars, things like the Mark 4 and 5 Cortinas being sort of current and exciting and new, and then Sierras and Mondeos, Cavaliers, that kind of stuff. And my mum always had the interesting car that my dad would work on at the weekend. But we had, I'm trying to think the order of the cars we had them in. It was either a Mark 1/2 Escort 2 litre that my dad built for time trial rallying, and I remember that being on the drive, covered in stickers and CB lamps and stuff, or it would be the Carman Gear. My parents had a Carman Gear when I was very small. And we used to go on holiday down to Cornwall and that we're in the southeast of England. So it was a long drive in a Carman Gear with a couple of kids and massive tents strapped on the roof and all the rest of it. So I remember those cars very well from when I was little. I think being in those kind of things, and then sort of watching Dad doing the time trial rallying, it's kind of my earliest memories, and that kind of got me interested in the cars, really. But yeah, cars have always been very much a big part of my life and my family, so that's kind of why I wound up being so interested in them, I think. Right, now, part 2, junk in the trunk. Let's get some stuff out and have a look. Now, I haven't got as much as last month, but hopefully it's going to be some fun, exciting things. And I'm guessing from the shape of a few of these packages that people have answered my call for license plates from around the world, because the idea of having a great big wall of number plates would be quite fun. Sort of all the countries that people are watching from represented would be really quite cool. Where's my knife gone? Now, these aren't in the order they were posted or arrived, although the last one to come out is the largest envelope, so that's the one I picked up first thing this morning, so I could film this one. This one, I believe, was from Frank. Frank did email me to say this was coming, and I was worried it wasn't going to turn up, because the customs and things, it's come from the Netherlands. Yeah, customs delays at the moment are just horrific. I was going to buy some stuff for the Volvo from my favourite Volvo place, which is in the Netherlands, and just wasn't worth the wait till the aggro. Aha! This looks like, oops, if I can open this. Cool. A Netherlands, a Dutch/Holland number plate. Thank you, Frank. That's another ZK01PF. Is that getting a shot of that? That's a really cool thing. That's very similar in size to the UK plates, but obviously different layout. That's going to be cool. I did discover, unfortunately, last week that the cinder block wall of this garage, which divides into my next door neighbour's wall, is unbelievably tough. There is a particular name for these kind of breeze block things, which I thought were going to be really easy to drill into. They are like granite, so I'm going to have to put up some like wood batons or something to screw the number plates to. Yeah, so that's a UK plate up there, the Furious Driving one. Thanks again to Perfectly Printed Plates for doing that for me. Yeah, but interestingly made of metal. You don't generally have metal plates in the UK unless you go it freestyle. What's next? What's next? Thanks, Frank. Right, this one has come from somewhere in the UK and small and box shaped. Let's try and get into this without damaging anything. Right, so we're in. Right, okay. Something, applications Vauxhall. Is this a Vauxhall related thing? No, it's not. It's a box from, I thought it was something Vauxhall related, but it's not. It's an old brake pad box. Void if broken. Very philosophical indeed. One of the deeper questions of our modern universe. Okay, so as you're seeing, I've not opened anything before recording of the video, which is probably a mistake. I'm editing a lot of time out. Ha! Awesome. Okay, this is... Hi Matt, here's a bit of garage fodder that I thought you might be cool for the C5 resto mod. All the best, CVAA fix drive ride fly. PS, when loading a Spectrum we used to call it the load digit, not load quote. Oh yeah, so it sounded wrong to me. Oh yeah, well quote marks, that's what I call it, quote marks. The Furious Driving film for the gallery by Steve, aged 43 and a sixth. Right, let's have a look at what's in the box. I'll try not to rain it on the floor. Fasten belts warning light, so you definitely have that one illuminated at all times on the front of the thing. And an amps gauge, very steampunk looking for the C5. We're going to find someone to mount that under their dashboard. Oh, that's kind of cool, isn't it? Yeah, fasten belts. Ironically, there is not a single safety belt or indeed any item of safety on the Sinclair C5. Safety third, as we say. Safety third. Next up, well, that's quite funny. I do enjoy nonsense like that. It actually works. Now we have an envelope, or again from the UK, judging by the postmark. Well, so, it's definitely from the UK. It's what am I saying? Judging by the postmark. You know, CSI Furious Driving. There's a picture of the Queen. I wonder what country it's from. Right, we have a package and a letter. Right, let's read some stuff first of all. This is from Ray. Hello, Ray. Just in your video with the Sinclair Spectrum, I've enclosed a copy of an adventure game I wrote for this machine in 1983, and I have a couple left. Wow, 1983. I'm not going to try and work out how long ago that was. That's going to make me feel sad. It's all about a TV series, The Prisoner. See what you think. You'll, of course, need a cassette player connected to the Spectrum. Funnily enough, I did actually find an old Sony Walkman in my office drawer, which I knew was there, but didn't know if it worked or not. But I did put some fresh batteries in and try it the other day, just to see. Oh wow, it's got a properly printed cassette insert and everything. Spoof software, The Prisoner of the Village, copyright 1983, spoof software, Spectrum 48K. Load and load, if you look at those little marks there, load quote or load digit, as Steve and his family used to say. I'll show you a cassette player. Your aim is to free yourself from the confines of the village by using any means at your disposal. The game may be saved to tape partway through by typing save, S-A-V-E. Thank you very much indeed, Ray. That's really fun. I'll have a play with that later on. I'll have to dig out the cassette player, find the wires, and hopefully that will all work correctly. That'd be quite fun, wouldn't it? I was going to say, yeah, I did have a guy writing some Spectrum software back in the late 80s when I was at school. Sinclair Basic is quite easy, but then you can get into like proper coding on those as well, so they're quite a clever computer. Quite a lot of fun. You have to be very inventive though, because it's such a limited machine with such a lack of memory and colours and sounds. You really had to be quite clever to make things work. And this feels to me like it's going to be a book, and CSI Furious does once again say this is from someone in the UK. I have to remember not to rush myself opening the envelopes and risk damaging anything inside, because I have to remember this isn't live. I can edit out however long it takes. That was very well packaged. Aha, Rover 2000 Series 1 handbook. Wow, this is the Auto Books, the wipe clean cover. Auto Press, sorry. Wow. I do have a couple of Rover P6 handbooks for different versions, for the V8, for the 4-cylinder, and the different years. And it's nice to have different versions though, because different authors, different publishing houses sometimes include different diagrams and different descriptions of parts. So you get to a point and you look at it and think, well, hang on, how does that go together? It's not in the Haynes manual. You go and get one of the other ones and they've got a different diagram or a different photo, which is always really, really handy to have something a bit different sometimes. So thank you very much indeed. Who was that from? You messaged me to say it was coming and my mind's gone blank. There is an illness where you can't remember people's names and I sometimes think I've got it. It was Ian. Ian, thank you very much indeed. I knew it was coming and I'm glad I finally got it. That'll be really handy. I got on the shelf of random car manuals, which is always very handy to have. Right. Only 3 more things here in the... Oh, 4 more things. Well, more than I expected. Here in the boot. This one is another UK one. Oops. Bit of protection of cardboard, so something exciting. Ooh, Volvo 740 manual. Oh, check this out. I was just thinking we hadn't had any car brochures this month yet. Here we have a Volvo car manual for the well, not manual, brochure, 740. Does it have a year on the back of it? Well, we've got the option of the GL, GLE and the 740 Turbo. This is from Kings Hill Volvo in Lowestoft. Oh, look at that beautiful photography. That is a lovely picture of the Volvo. That's virtually my car. In fact, that could be my car in that picture. Same wheel trims, everything. I'll turn around back to the camera so you can see what I'm looking at. Bit of Swedish countryside there. Oops. That is my stripy fabric, but in a beige. Interesting, it's easier to find these bits of beige trim than it is to find the blue trim. Luxury at your fingertips, electric windows, central locking standard on all models, and 16.76 cubic feet of luggage space, which sounds like nothing at all, but it's a very big boot. Hang on, it does say a year there. Yeah, the 1987 740 is not only extremely comfortable, and so yeah, this is the brochure from the year before mine was built. Mine's a 1988 car, and I've got the 88 brochure, which came with it. This is interesting to see if it's at all different. Oh, ventilated door sills. Never knew that. Which apparently helps you prevent rust. And the tough steel safety cage for all the extra safety. It's amazing how the wheels completely change the character of the car. I would like a set of fog lights for mine. That would look quite cool. All the options. Cool. Oh, thank you. Who was that from? I didn't see a name on this one. That is really cool. Thank you, whoever sent that in. Is there a note? No, there's no letter and no return address. So whoever that was, thank you very much indeed. That was a great thing. I do love a brochure, and that's such a cool thing to see. Obviously, loving the 740s. So thank you, whoever you are. This is a letter no less. We shall see what we've got in here. I'm always worried when I see a letter, is it a court summons or a writ? Oh no, this is from Parcel Force themselves, 5th of March, we're currently holding a parcel at your local depot. But once again, they haven't actually posted the letter to me. They've left it at the depot with the rest of the parcels. So, okay, that's... I love when they do that. That always makes me laugh. I've got to go to the depot to find out there's something for me at the depot, which they've left at the depot. Now I've got 2 more, which I think are both number plates, judging by the size, weight and feel, so it's quite exciting. This one came a few days ago, actually. This one's come all the way from New York, in America. Pull tab to open, we don't get these USPS type envelopes with a pull tab to open on them here in the UK very often. That's quite exciting. Wow, that's battered, but very cool. Oh man, cool. New York license plates. Oh man, that is so cool. I'll give you a proper look at those in a second. Hi Matt, Viewers Driving. Here's an assortment of New York State USA license plates for your collection. The date of issue is written on the back of each. Oh yeah. Plates in the States do not stay with the vehicle. Each new owner must re-register the car and is issued a new different plate. From the man called X. Yeah, I didn't actually know that. It's kind of interesting how different countries do different things. Here in the UK, the number plate, is there anything, they're behind the camera up on the wall. The UK plates, in fact I've got some up here. So a UK plate, this is a really bad example because it's off the front of a Rover 2000 and they've got a non-standard size, so I'm showing you something completely irrelevant. That is issued to the car and stays with the car its entire life. So it does actually make tracing the car's history a lot easier because you can go back through old photos, old documents. So unless someone's physically changed the plate for a personal plate or whatever reason, you can always find the car. So it's interesting in America, the plate is the person rather than the car. Here's a follow-up question. Do you get to keep the same number plate and move it to other cars if you want it, or do you have to sort of go through special paperwork, or do they just randomly assign you a plate each time? But yeah, here we have 1986 to the year 2000, complete with the Statue of Liberty image in the centre. That's quite a cool one. Then we've got the yellow one, the pure yellow, the 73 to 86. This is kind of more how I imagine New York license plates, but I guess that's because of the films of the early 80s. You'd have seen that kind of stuff on like Ghostbusters and things. Just it's very like a yellow cab kind of vibe going on. I'd be interested to know what happened to that car, or what car that came off. Was it something very, very low, or did you have like a parking garage with a big bump in the front of it? Because that was properly mangled at the bottom. This one is 2001 to 2010, so I've been to New York a few times from sort of 2002 onwards, so this is something I've now seen in person quite a lot. That's interesting. I didn't realise the states changed their styles quite so much as that. That's really cool. Thank you, man called X. That is awesome. That is really, really cool. That's definitely going to look good on the wall over there. This is definitely, well, actually, I think the yellow one is actually more reflective. Interesting. It's kind of fun. American plates are fun because each state is able to sort of do its own cool different thing. I'm going to put it somewhere so I'm not going to damage stuff. I did get myself a massive breaker bar off Draper the other day so I can try and get the aircon pump off the Alpha 145, but it's very much in the way because it doesn't fit into any of the toolboxes. There. Right, the last one, the last package of the month. Does feel number platey again. Oops. And there's another UK envelope. And a metal plate, which feels American. This is from Alistair in Scotland. Hi Matt, I'm writing to say thanks for the brilliant videos. Oh, thank you much indeed. That's very nice of you. I didn't insert that myself. You've produced over the years. I've been a viewer of yours since the Bangonomics Mondeo series. Wow, that's a series that did not go as I planned it to. I thought it'd be quite a fun, entertaining thing to try and go from a company car to a £1,000 Mondeo, and I lasted 3 months before I went and bought the Mercedes. I saw your last mailbag, you were making a plate wall, so please find enclosed a pair of 1968 Colorado license plates. Thanks again for the excellent content, Alistair. Thank you, Alistair, that's brilliant. Right, so look at these. So here we have the pair, the front and rear. I'm going to work out which was the front plate and which was the rear plate. I guess the front one would be more battered, but they both look quite similar. So interesting, the mountain state, Colorado, and you've got the year down the bottom. And interesting, the rear of it is green as well. There's a lot of interesting nonsense and trivia with number plates, more than you'd imagine. That's so cool. That is going to look really good on the wall. In addition to that, we have got, now this is something I've never seen before, the envelope they actually ship in. And this came from, was stamped Sedgwick, so I guess that's like a local area authority perhaps. Okay, so first, a couple of little caveats here on the envelope. Please make sure the numbers on the enclosed plates correspond exactly with the numbers on this envelope. Yeah, it's a good thing to have. Any discrepancy, notify your county clerk's office. And secondly, be sure you have a valid driver's license. Because, yeah, you probably ought to, really, shouldn't you? Oh dear, that's a very lackadaisical attitude to road safety. yes, it's up to you to just go and check, double check that you have got one. Well, thank you everyone who has sent stuff in this month. That's a really interesting bag of bits and pieces. The number plates are fantastic, all metal, interestingly, this month. Everything's a metal plate from America and from the Netherlands. A bit of car paraphernalia, Spectrum paraphernalia, keeping the cars working paraphernalia, and brochures. Brochures are just fantastic, aren't they? Just like a slice of history, sort of seeing how cars were when they were new, how they were marketed, how the world viewed them. Interesting, if you look at a brochure from 1987, the radio is mentioned on page 26 as a virtually throwaway mention. You can have a radio. Now, the current world of infotainment and car connectivity, the first 10 pages we're given over is the fact you can connect CarPlay and Android Auto to a car rather than anything about the engine. So that's quite an interesting, different change in times. Thanks to everyone for watching. If you would like to be part of this in next month's video, then do send stuff into a conveniently placed envelope here. Furious Driving, PO Box 477, Aylesford, ME69LE, and some people are adding junk in the trunk to the envelope address as well, which is not essential but always makes me smile. And apparently the lady at the post office has also picked up on that because she started writing it on stuff as well. So thank you for that. If you've got a question or a comment for the next video as well, end of next month, then do, well, basically become a channel member or Patreon, and you'll then be able to find the email address to send it to. And thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this, do please hit like, and I'm trying to get more and more subscribers. I want to hit 50,000. I was going to say 50,000 by Easter, but it's only a week or two away, so if we can hit 45,000 by Easter, that's a doable achievement. Maybe 100,000 by the end of the year. Let's not go crazy. Thanks for watching, everyone. I do appreciate all your input into making this, and I hope you have enjoyed watching it. I'll see you again next time. Take care, everybody.